Hey guys, how you doing? It's your boy, Mr. Luke Evan Brooks, and this is one of our first videos in a long time that we're going to do. This is probably going to be about 5-10 minutes, but I just want to talk about the things that I've seen go around in our country, in the United States, right? There's a lot of things that's going wrong, right? And a lot of people on the news are going to try to sugarcoat it. But when I talk to my folks back home, because I'm living in Bahrain, I see and I hear what's really going on. The other day, I've seen a man basically, and it's not funny, I don't mean to laugh. He shot an employee at Taco Bell for giving the wrong change. Now, we're living in a mad world where I give you the wrong change. At the end of the day, I don't expect to get shot. And that says an undertone. What's going on with the world? What's going on with the nation? When we are doing the things that we're doing, just like this budget crisis, some people are going to be Stonewall, right? Like Stonewall Jackson, Confederate General, Civil War. They're going to be like, well, I'm going to just have a hard stop. No. Even though it may hurt millions and millions and millions of people, they want to prove a point that can cost people's lives, livelihood. Again, you know me. If you haven't known me, again, my name is Mr. Luke Evan Brooks. And while you're on this program with me, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I really want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and spread the word. But as I go on, and as I talk about the things that I see in the world, right? In the world, I see that folks are hurting. But going into the States, we're running into election year, right? We're running into an area where you got UAW, UAW, UAW strikes, right? They're striking. Automotive workers are striking and it's spreading. And you might say, how does that make a big impact, Luke? Well, the rise in cost of supply and demand will kick in. If you already are paying a high rate for a domestic vehicle, that's where trying to buy one, get ready because this thing is not going away anytime soon. This thing's been going on since September. And the funny thing is, all the stuff that's been going on with the whole budget, with the trying to get it past a 45-day extension, they ain't been talking about it in the news. And we need to be the ones to talk about things like the news because it does impact Americans. It does impact the folks that really need help and really need to get everything that they need to get. And these workers are talking about their rights. And everyone has rights. You should have rights about better pay, about better benefits, things that really help them. And the folks that are on top, they're trying to keep that status quo because they're trying to address everything that the shareholders are looking at: bigger returns, bigger, dividends, things of that sort. But it's going to have to be a give and take situation, right? You can't absolutely sit there and say no, they're not going to get anything. Everything's going to have some type of wiggle room. And of course, those guys can't have a hard stop no, so we absolutely not going to do anything of your demands. And I think honestly, like my father told me years ago, I think this is going to lead to where these jobs are going to go overseas. But some of these folks overseas are getting hip too. Some of these people are like, look, man, I want more money. If you want me to make this, I want more money. So it's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. And we have to look at the greater aspect because looking at the news today too, California's raised the minimum raise for fast food employees $20 an hour. Now, when I used to work in fast food, I used to work Domino's. I think I was getting paid like $6 an hour. So it sounds good, right? But everything else is going to go up, right? And a lot of folks don't realize it. And then the other thing that I've noticed a few years ago that they don't talk about, you see all this AI technology, you see all these things that's coming into play. They're looking to reduce the costs of everything. And how do we reduce the number one cost? The human factor, meaning that I don't have to pay a machine any money. I don't have to give them leave. They don't have to stop. They don't get sick. They don't complain. This is what's about to happen. A few years ago, we was at a Japanese restaurant. I forgot where it was at. and we weren't getting served by a human being. It was served by a machine. People, oh, that's cool, that's neat. But these machines are about to be put in place in certain areas, work industries, right? Where you remove the human factor. And I think with these strikes going on, I think something like this about to happen here in the next couple of years. I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow, next few months, but a couple of years it's going to happen. And we have to be understanding of what we're running into. Now, as an entrepreneur, I tell you this, you got to have multiple streams. And it's ways to have multiple streams of income, right? It's ways to create multiple streams of income. Very simple. Some of the things that you can do is just get a high yield savings account. Now, I'm not talking about your local Bank of America or Truist or, the other ones out there that people typically go to where they give you like a 0.02% interest rate. And you can hold that money in there for 30 years and they give you $100 for letting them use your money to make money, because that's what banks do. Money doesn't sit in a vault. It doesn't sit in a vault and get dust on it like they do in the movies. That money is being circulated. It's constantly being circulated. That's how banks make money, and they use your money to make money. There are certain banks that you can do high yield interest rates. You may have to do a minimal to put your money in there, but once you get your money in there, it grows if you want to be safe. Now, I recommend that for the folks who don't know much about the stock market, don't want to know about the stock market, like they're kind of scared of it or scared of, Bitcoin. You can use this as a way to get you in the right direction where you need to go, okay? At the end of the day, when you look at this, that's one way. Another thing that you can do is to focus more on creating your own niche or business. For me, I do Udemy, and we're going to drop a link in down below to the free course with Turo. I'm not going to talk about Turo in this video, but we're going to talk about it in other videos. But you can go to Udemy. You can do something where you can teach people a trait that you know well, if you have the taste for that. Or you can be a tutor, right? I have a cousin right now. She gets paid tutoring people, $25, $30 an hour. And you do a number of students, you can make money. And that's how you got to do. Right now, we're in a hustle era. That's why I look at it now that a lot of folks are trying to figure out with the military, why ain't a lot of people trying to join the military? Because there's so much money going out here. They're not trying to sit here and be stuck. Because one thing I will say about the military, they do give you benefits. I was in the old system where you do the pension, so it's worth to stay in to get the pension. But if you knew, and I think that was the number one thing that damaged the military as a entire, is that if you take away a pension, you're talking about you're doing this retirement blend system, kind of like a IRA, and these students are not, or these military personnel service member are not familiar with financial education, which they don't teach in America. You have to go to college to learn this stuff or a private school. Then they don't see the value of that. So they say, why should I stay? I'm just going to stay here, learn a skill, go work a job, and then end up running a business. And I saw one cat do that. And that's the way of an entrepreneur, right? For me, I look at it like this. If I wasn't in the military, I'll be full blown entrepreneur, 5, 6, 7 different businesses running, going, right? Right now, I got 2 things going right now. That's with the digital marketing / course teaching and with Turo. And again, I'm doing this overseas and it's working. Now, if you're expecting the big money to come out right there, again, I talk about the instant gratification in previous video. You can't think that way. You got to think the long run, right? It's just like you growing a tomato garden. You don't expect to stick the seed in the ground, put water in next day, it's a full plump tomato tree, right? You're not going to have that. It's going to take time. You got to nurture it. You got to grow and you got to develop. The same thing as an entrepreneur. You're going to have smaller setbacks or whatnot. You do have to put in the work as we're doing now. We're bringing it back in. You have to be able to stay consistent. That's the main important thing about you being an entrepreneur. You have to stay consistent and stay focused. You can't let anyone or anything get in your way. When you cross over to become an entrepreneur, you start seeing things differently. You start doing the things that you used to do. You stop going out with your friends like you used to that might be on some other stuff with spin, spin, spin. And I noticed that with myself, to be honest. With the things that I noticed when I started to cross over as an entrepreneur, I didn't look at money the same way. I see some of my friends, they get the bonus checks or whatnot for various things from the military, and they want to go buy jewelry, they want to go buy fancy cars, things like that, where I'm thinking in my mind, what can I do to make more of this money using the money that they gave me? And that's how I did a Turo thing. I took some of the money I got, bought another vehicle, then I kept buying other vehicles and buying more vehicles. And that was the way to grow. And a lot of folks don't see that all the time. They see this a one-way street. Oh, I can only do it this way. And it's not like that. You have to overcome obstacles too. The things that I noticed when I had obstacles, it wasn't the people in the military because they were like, oh, good for you, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that. It was coming from my family. You have people, and they love me, right? They're not trying to sit there and sabotage me, but you have family members that were saying, well, you sure you know what you're doing? Is it safe? You may lose everything. All these things that they're trying to put doubt in your mind, but you got to have a strong will. One of the things I do tell people to do when they're doing entrepreneurship, right? They're starting to do their own business. Don't talk to your family. If your family's used to punching in a clock, they're trading in their time for money, they're not going to get you. No matter what you show, you can show them a PowerPoint, you can show them the actual stuff that you got, the inventory, you can walk them through the whole process. In their mind, they looking for out to say this doesn't make sense because for them, they've been taught, they've been indoctrinated. A lot of us have been indoctrinated. And see, I think I was semi-doctrinated, right? Because when I got to college, we started talking about entrepreneurship a little bit more than what we're talking about at home. And it was like, hey, this is what you got to do to grow a business. These are the ways you can get money. You don't have to necessarily use all your money. You can do the right things, get your money going, use other people's money, and start growing. That's what bigger businesses do. They don't use their money all the time. They don't use the majority of the money. It's just too much of a risk. They'll use some of their money and go get different money from different areas and make it grow, right? And that's the thing you have to do. A lot of folks didn't want to see me do this, but the numbers speak for themselves. I was scared at one point because my background story, and we'll play the video here, maybe post it up in one of these areas here. But my story behind that is that when I was doing Turo, at the end of the day, I didn't want to do it at first. I had a chance to do it with my friends, but I wanted to do a veil, and long story short, they went out of business and had a dilemma, had a crossroad. Keep going, switch over to Turo, or give up, take the cars back in, take a hit on your credit. I wasn't taking no hit on no credit. I wasn't looking back. I went full force. And that's how you got to be, guys. You got to be calculated. When you do something, your actions should be deliberate and calculated. So I hope this helps you out, guys. I want you to know that all of us can do this thing as far as becoming an entrepreneur, making our dreams come true, and becoming really good at it. Make sure you click down the links down below. I got some free resources for you. Definitely check us out. I'll see you next time. Take care and make sure you grow. Take care of yourself, guys.